Hey y'all see the title? I've been meaning to do this one, put off. You see what it says, cash grab investigation. The government seizes billions in cash from air travelers. This is part one. If I have, I'll part two will follow this one up, okay? But you see it's from Fox 46, Charlotte, fair use, knuckles, fair use. Records obtained from the Department of Homeland Security, Freedom of Information Act library show 30,670 cash seizures happen inside the nation's airport between 2000 and 2016. Well, what's been happening? Well, probably earlier this year and last year wasn't much due to the Wu-Tang, stifling air travel and whatnot. And you see their YouTube channel here, their URL, and their live channel there. And go through some people's stuff here. Let's see what some of the people say. Never give consent to any kind of search without a court-issued warrant. Surprise, surprise. Does anyone actually believe this in a free country? Partially, but not fully free, of course. Stop calling these theft seizures. This is straight theft. So where's the money? Where's the money? Sounds like a bunch of freaking thieves there. If I would say that the DOJ should investigate the seizures, but the DOJ is involved in it. Yeah. Ooh, I remember back when Americans were allowed to have money. Yeah, I remember when it wasn't against the law to have money. Let's go ahead and roll it.
Right now, 10:30, $2 billion. That is how much federal agents have seized from people who have taken cash inside an airport. And get this, Charlotte Douglas International Airport ranks as the 10th highest for cash seizures in the nation. Now,
$2 billion. Are you freaking kidding me?
The Fed seized $55 million from passengers there from 2000 to 2016. As Fox 46 chief investigator Jody Barr explains tonight, prosecutors rarely charge anyone with a crime, but the government kept the money anyway.
An officer walked up to me and he said, my dog hit your bag, which his dog hadn't even been between my legs at this time. And my bag's in between my legs.
Cody James walked into Charlotte Douglas Airport in July to catch a flight to Oregon. It was a weekend trip to visit a friend he'd grown up with outside Charlotte. But minutes before boarding,
he said, you mind if my dog searches your bag? It's a narcotics dog. I said, I don't mind. I don't have any narcotics. So I went up like this and I handed my bag to him and he tossed it on the ground like this. And he was hollering at his dog. And then he said, here, just like that.
Two law enforcers went into his backpack and found his cash.
He told me from the beginning that he wasn't giving me my money back.
The Transportation Security Administration had just minutes before x-rayed and searched his luggage, then waved him through. James says the TSA never said anything to him about the money. James was about to find out the TSA had tipped off an Immigration and Customs Enforcement officer about that cash.
He just took my money and then 10 minutes later, 5 to 10 minutes later, he's gone. I can't find anyone. And anything everybody's telling me is to just call that number. It says TFO Brown. His name's Steve Brown.
James missed his flight, and this piece of paper is the only thing he left the airport with.
Look, it's U.S. currency with no amount. It was $27,600.
And why were you traveling with that?
I was traveling with that money because I'm going through a divorce and I have a lot of court costs and stuff to pay, and I can't leave my money in my bank account now because my wife's been taking my money out of it.
James says TFO Steve Brown won't return his call.
Damn. Court costs, divorce, so now your money that you... Like I said, man, some of us, we want to complain sometimes. Sometimes we have it bad, but sometimes there's always somebody in worse condition than we are.
To find out how and why the government took his money, seemingly without reason. Then last month, The government sent him this letter accusing James of possessing money traceable to controlled substances. The letter informed him he could petition the government to try to get his money back.
I had no narcotics on me, absolutely no narcotics at all. And this is what I get.
Do you use any type of drugs?
No, sir.
Do you buy any type of drugs?
No, sir.
Do you sell any type of drugs?
No, sir.
Then what's going on here?
I have no idea. Robbery from the government.
James is not alone. Government records obtained from the Department of Homeland Security show from
If he would have had any drugs on him, they would have arrested him right there on the spot in the airport for trying to board because that's federal property, these airports. He would have been arrested if he had drugs. So I know the dude asking questions for clarity, but it should be a no freaking brainer that he didn't have any drugs on him because they didn't arrest him.
2000 to 2016, the most recent data available, government agents seized $133 million from people at airports across North Carolina. Agents seized another $18 million from people at South Carolina airports. Over in Atlanta, at one of the nation's busiest airports, agents seized $109 million from people passing through. In those same 16 years, Homeland Security records show $1.8 billion seized from people at airports all across the nation. How many of those cases have turned out to be criminals?
The vast majority of folks who've approached us, we've looked into their situation, and it's not at all evident that these folks are criminals.
Dan Albin is an attorney with a D.C.-based nonprofit law firm, Institute for Justice. In January, the group filed a class action lawsuit against the TSA, DEA, and the federal government. If successful, the lawsuit could end these seizures, at least for the people who are never charged with a crime. The suit.
I mean, what are we freaking, Mexico or Cambodia or something? What the hell is this? But yeah, like we don't look. I know we do crooked. The United States do as much crooked stuff, if not more, than a lot of other countries too. I know.
Suit represents potentially thousands of people like Cody James.
It's humiliated me, this whole process.
Where the feds seized their cash and have yet to prove a dime was earned through a criminal act.
And the policy basically is, if we see cash, we will seize it, and they don't ever have to charge those folks with a crime. They don't have to get a conviction in court. They can just accuse the person of having some involvement with drug activity, and they keep their cash forever.
These seizures happen even though the TSA's own rulebook states you can fly domestically with any amount of cash, and you don't have to tell anyone you have it. It says here, TSA Rule 100.4 is traveling with large amounts of currency is not illegal, is what?
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's not. And that's why I said it's allowed. But again, when it's in the screening checkpoint, again, like I said, if there is a large amount of cash or if the way that it's packaged, it looks strange, then we're going to contact law enforcement.
The TSA was the only federal agency to agree to an interview. Neither ICE, the DEA, Homeland Security, nor Customs and Border Protection would even discuss scheduling an interview. Since Congress formed the TSA after 9/11, the agencies worked as frontline watchdogs.
George Bush's baby. I was screaming to the top of my lungs when they started this Department of Homeland Security. I'm like, great, just what we need. Another 3 or 4 letter government information bilking the people out of money and resources. Ain't that just freaking I'm telling people, well, I thought you was a Republican. Shut up. Look, man, that damn W got. Onward.
Flagging passengers with cash.
Bottom line is what we're looking for are things that are dangerous on board an aircraft. Those prohibited items, those firearms, things like that we don't want on board or that could jeopardize the aircraft.
Is TSA looking at a bundle of cash as a potentially dangerous item to bring on board?
So it really, again, if you're taking a look at at a bag, right? Whenever something looks suspicious or is illegal, they're contacted and brought in at that point.
We want the public to be able to understand exactly in TSA's eyes why this appears to be something.
Yeah, because y'all know that $27,000 was shaped like a explosive device. So we got to take this 27K to make sure it don't detonate in your bag and knock the plane out of the sky on its way to Oregon. What the hell? What is this double speak? Boy, he's trained. They sent him out for a reason. I wonder how much training he got at talking sideways.
So dangerous that it will require calling a federal agent in to intercept it.
We don't seize it. The most we're going to do is notify law enforcement, and they will make the determination. So the framework is in place where if we see something suspicious.
Congress gave these agencies the power to seize in the 1984 Comprehensive Crime Control Act. The legislation was intended to fight organized crime and drug traffickers by stripping them of the money earned from their crimes. The law enforcement agencies seizing that money get to keep it. Those fighting the government in these seizure cases argue innocent people are getting nabbed along the way. If DHS was not allowed to keep 100% of these proceeds, do you believe that this would, if not stop tomorrow, would significantly decrease?
It would dramatically decrease. That is what is driving almost all of this activity.
There is a way for people to try to get this money back. The government files what's known as a civil asset forfeiture case in federal court, usually titled the United States versus whatever dollar amount seized. People then have to hire an attorney to go to court. But since these cases are not criminal, you have to prove you earned the money legally.
There is no presumption of innocence in civil forfeiture cases. And so all the government has to do is show that it's more likely than not that their cash is somehow connected to a crime, meaning it's 51% likely.
Is there any guarantee that even with an attorney involved that they will get their money back?
Unfortunately, there is no guarantee. The cards are stacked in favor of the federal government, and even a perfectly innocent person probably does not have very good odds of getting their property back once it's been seized.
This right here is my W-2 of 2020, and I made $89,567 through legally working at a Credo Packaging in Houston, Texas.
Cody James is going through that right now as he fights to get back his $27,000 in savings taken from him at the Charlotte airport in July.
I shouldn't have to keep explaining myself of what I'm doing with my money when I'm not doing nothing illegal. No one had nothing illegal on them. No one was doing nothing illegal.
And the government is now, you're going to have to prove to the
government that where all this money came from, when they should have to prove why they took all this money.
An interrogation inside the Raleigh airport and a federal agent looking to make a deal.
If you choose to abandon and walk away from the money in any type of federal investigation, you're welcome to do that.
If it appears that government agents are asking people to essentially sign this money over to us and we'll pretend this never happened, how is that fighting crime?
It's not.
Behind airport doors, coming up when our cash grab investigation continues after the break.
Hang on a second.
When federal agents seize cash at airports across the country, we rarely get a look at what happens next. Sometimes that's an interrogation. Tonight, we're getting a look at one of those interrogations that happened here inside the Raleigh airport last year, where a federal agent seized $115,000 from a passenger. That interrogation quickly turned into the federal agent looking to make a deal.
I'm like, I just got robbed. I can't believe I just got robbed, like, without a gun. Like, I've been robbed before, but, like, you know, without no gun. Like, just, it was the nicest robbery ever.
Ramon Lyons strolled through the Raleigh airport last June to hop on a flight to California. He had $115,000 in his luggage, cash he says he had to purchase machines for his gaming business in Raleigh. Airport surveillance video shows the TSA screened Lyons' luggage, then grabbed his bag after an x-ray revealed cash inside. The TSA officer walked Lyons' bag to a table where a Raleigh airport officer joined in. Like thousands of others who have had their money seized in an airport, Lyon didn't know at the time the TSA was on the line with a federal agent.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
How you doing?
Good.
Lyon landed in an airport interrogation room. Officers and the TSA searched his bags there and photographed the cash inside. An hour and a half later, Raleigh-Durham Airport Police Officer Aaron Woodleaf walked in. Woodleaf, a civilian airport officer at times,
Man, he pull out like 10 badges.
becomes a Fed when he needs to.
The TFOs get silver badges, we don't get the cool guy on gold badges. So, task force officers, so we're duly sworn. It's kind of crazy. We got jurisdiction beyond our normal property when we need to.
Woodleaf questioned Lyon about his trip, why he didn't have a return ticket, and why he did not have a hotel booked in California. Mentioning no other evidence, the agent told Lyon he wasn't leaving with his money.
I think
Maybe I got a friend. Maybe I'm not the only person. There's other people that know me. Maybe I got a relative or a friend or something that's picking me up at the airport and I'm staying at their house. Maybe I don't know when I'm coming back because I don't know how much equipment I'm going to purchase at the auction and how long it's going to take for me to get it over to UPS or FedEx or whoever to get it shipped back to North Carolina. Maybe that's why I didn't book a return. And then once I get everything set up and shipped out, then I'll buy a ticket and fly back. Maybe just because I'm black don't mean I live check the fucking check. And maybe I'm running a business, a legitimate business, and I can take some goof off time because I got that kind of money like that. You ever think about that?
I think there's probably some legitimacy to your claim, but based on just some of these findings, I'm going to seize your money under administrative seizure for Homeland Security, and we're going to give you about 60 days to come up with an appeal. You receive the stuff in the mail, and the U.S. Attorney's Office will be giving you a chance to provide legitimacy for your money. It's just something that it feels like there's something more here. You got a last minute purchase on your ticket. You don't have any accommodation. It's just odd. Nothing's wrong with it, but I just feel it's odd.
Agent Woodleaf told Lyon he planned to open one or more federal investigations into his personal life, his business and finances, and he'd get search warrants for his cell phones. But then offered Lyon a way to buy out of those federal investigations.
We do have abandonment forms here as well. If you choose to forego the seizure of the phones in any investigation, you can walk away from that money. I don't know. Those are all your options. Those are all your options. I'm going to seize the money, but if you want to walk away from a federal investigation that's linked to the money, those are your options. If we do a federal investigation, I'll probably end up figuring out your favorite color, your favorite food. We're looking at your bank account, that kind of investigation.
That's just it's another scare tactic that they use to get you to do what they want you to do.
Let's go. My favorite color is blue and my favorite food is barbecue. Damn it. You want to, what else my shoe size is a 13. What else you want to know? Man, oh no, we would be I'd go to the mat over my money.
Dude.
To give up that money without a fight.
To give up that money without a fight. Yeah, sign right here and walk out the door.
If it appears that government agents are asking people to sign over money to avoid a federal investigation, essentially sign this money over to us and we'll pretend this never happened, how is that fighting crime?
It's not.
William Pruden, an asset forfeiture attorney in Raleigh, represents Ramon Lyon and Cody James. Pruden says these seizures put innocent people in an impossible spot, having to prove to the government they're not criminals. In all of the cases that you've handled where currency has been seized at an airport, how many of your cases resulted in a criminal prosecution?
None.
Not a single one?
None of my civil asset forfeiture cases, even outside of airport.
That appears to be the norm. Homeland Security data shows in the more than 30,000 cash seizures between 2000 and 2016, prosecutors filed a criminal action in less than 10% of those cases. In court filings, the feds attempted to connect Lyon to a California to the Carolinas drug trafficking investigation. But the government never claimed Lyon was the subject of that investigation, only that the amount of money he had, how he packed it into his bags, along with having 2 cell phones, was consistent with the drug trafficking techniques. Lyon says he knew he wasn't leaving with his cash.
Boy, they'd hate me because I pack my money. When I have to carry money, I pack it in bundles of 5,000, and I got 3 cell phones. One's on each net. One's on AT&T network. One's on the Verizon network. One's on the Sprint network. Y'all will figure out the reason why. Being I'm in transportation, phones don't work everywhere. Every network don't work everywhere you go. And that $47 a month phone bill pales in comparison of me missing out on a multi-$1,000 job because I didn't have signal to get the phone call.
As soon as agents pulled his criminal record. Lyon has a criminal record dating back to 1993, a record littered with multiple felony drug convictions, weapons charges, and eluding arrest. But his last convictions happened a decade ago.
Once he saw that I had a record, it was just open game. I was open game for him. He was like,
this is a case of your past coming back to fucking haunt you. Jesus Christ, man.
I'm about to have a field day with this guy.
Despite the rap sheet, Agent Woodliff wanted to make Ramon Lyon a deal.
Diamonds, nobody from the U.S. Attorney's Office will contact you, and we won't be seizing any type of investigation. It ends when we focus on that.
The investigative tactics displayed in this video have caused law firms like Dan Albin's to sue, to force the government to prove its allegations before taking things that don't belong to it. Is it more about fighting crime, or is the outcome more about scooping up this money and somewhere along the way the original intent has been lost?
This is definitely about raising revenue and not about fighting crime.
I mean, I knew they was going to see it, but I didn't think like I said, I didn't think I was doing anything wrong.
15 months later, federal prosecutors have not charged Ramon Lyon with a crime, but still have his money. Did they accuse you of being tied to money laundering or drug trafficking?
Yeah.
Did they prove it?
No.
Are you being prosecuted?
No.
What's going on here?
I got robbed. They just robbed me. That's what's going on.
Not a single agency conducting these seizures would talk with us about them. Homeland Security did send us a statement saying its ICE investigations deal with money laundering that supports transnational criminal organizations by targeting courier networks that use the nation's airports to conceal and transport illicit proceeds. DHS, again, though, would not agree to talk with us about any of these cases. There is federal legislation that could end these seizures if the government cannot prove the people they're targeting are indeed criminals. Congressman Tim Walberg, a Michigan Republican, has once again this session introduced the Fifth Amendment Integrity Act.
Civil asset forfeiture has been used too many times to seize, forfeit, and indeed profit off the property of Americans without even charging them with crimes.
Well, this FAIR Act could eliminate these seizures for people where the government cannot provide clear and convincing evidence of a crime. But this legislation has stalled in congressional committees. Since each of these federal agencies fall under the executive branch, I asked the White House for an interview. President Biden was a co-author on this 1984 legislation that allowed these seizures, but no one in the Biden administration would agree to interview with us.
Imagine that.
From the Raleigh-Durham International Airport, I'm Jody Barr.
Incredible investigation. And Jody has put together a more in-depth article online. You can find surveillance videos and the TSA's response on fox46.com.
Folks, see the glory of the royal scam. Thanks for listening. Hey, go to their channel if you want to see the surveillance videos he talking about. You fox46.com. fox46.com. Bye.